Yep, just a chat stream today. Just gonna relax because I need to do some couple of things with a couple of like a course, and then I have to do some job applications. Also, hi Castle, how you doing?
So, I define full engagement as the intentional. It's intentional. The intentional investment of your full and best energy right here, right now. That is a skill, and it's very hard to do. But we get better with practice. And we've looked at there's physical energy. When you're out of physical energy, you cannot be fully engaged. When you are all caught up in anger and frustration and cynical and sarcastic and so forth, that compromises your ability to be fully engaged. If you're focused on multiple, you can't multitask. You got to be right here, right now. In your moment, this moment in time, you can feel my energy coming to you. And then I can
Hey
feel
Roa.
intensity. There is an intensity in the energy that's coming because I can sense you care about it, and you're giving it right here, right now. That is what we've built the whole program around, that notion of how fully engaged are you in life, and who and what is getting that full engagement, if anyone, and is that full engagement fully aligned with your deepest values and sense of purpose. That's the secret. That alignment and understanding, this is a skill set that we're teaching youngsters very early in life to try to develop and hone this, because that's how they become great investors in life, with their greatest sense of purpose and with this ability to invest full engagement. That's the secret to me. If there's a secret to life, that's it.
It's the secret to living a big life. And as we've talked about before, purpose is a central self-organizing life aim. So purpose kind of tells you where to put your energy in a way. Right?
And exactly.
Yeah. I want to shift a little bit to students, both high school and maybe.
Oh no, you're not hearing things. I'm just I'm completing a course.
Professor at the University of Michigan, and I've been teaching for 25 years, and quite honestly, I've never seen students as nervous, as anxious, as depressed as I have over the last few years. And in fact, over the last 10 years, research has shown that suicidal ideation among students, thinking about ending your life within the last 12 months, have you thought about doing that, has doubled over the last 10 years. Severe depression, as measured through a standardized test, the PHQ-9, has doubled over the last 10 years among college students. And yet purpose has declined among college students. A significant interest, in fact, saying it's extremely important to make a lot of money, has increased a lot, and yet happiness has not increased at all. In fact, it's declined. What's going on with college
So it's it's very troubling, and it's very real. I think your experience at the University of Michigan is the experience that almost everyone's having across the country, maybe worldwide. So there are a couple things to consider. One is you have to have a deep sense of purpose, or what you get is emptiness. It's like if you don't have hope, there's nothing to fill that void. It's hopelessness is depression. And so the first thing you have to have is a purpose, but you also can have the wrong purpose. Your purpose has to be the right purpose. So I spent a lot of time with a lot of athletes, and they were chasing fame, money. And some of these athletes achieved such extraordinary success. Number one in the world, and what came with it was unbelievable money, all the money, they could never spend it in their lifetime. Unbelievable fame, and every title, all the titles they ever dreamed of having, and all the privileges, adulation, and they are, in many ways, became almost as bankrupt emotionally and mentally and spiritually as a lot of the kids today. They began to question, what is this all about? This is it? This is what life is about? And it was because this patient with themselves, this is the danger. You can have a purpose, but if it's the wrong purpose, it can lead you just as powerfully in a direction that will lead to almost as detrimental as having no purpose.
So we're playing with fire here too. When we help people find purpose, thinking about understanding what kind of purpose we should build is an incredibly important thing.
It's a huge factor.
Yeah, I talk a fair amount about Friedrich Nietzsche, who used in the beginning of Thus Spoke Zarathustra this wonderful metaphor that begins with a camel, and the camel says, load everything on my back, load all the sorrows of the world, the pain, but also the joy and the love. In other words, educate me. And then the camel transforms into a lion. The lion goes out into the wilderness and finds a dragon where on every scale are the words, thou shalt. The lion slays the dragon and then metamorphosizes one last time into a child. And the whole idea is that you need to become a lion, but you start by being a camel. And I find that my college students need to be camels.
Yeah.
I want them to take a gap year and learn about the real world. Not just go to Paris or London, but literally like go to sub-Saharan Africa or learn
They need
how
to
other
really
people
find something that they have to work really hard at and understand with discipline and hard work and appreciate all the wonderful things that they now have that they didn't really earn, but now they're having to really understand what it takes to get those things.
Then they can become a lion, and then they can go ahead.
Right.
But I often feel that people jump into trying to be a lion too early. They're not educated, and that leads to terrorism. It leads to all sorts of horrible things where people actually do have incredible purposes, but in the complete wrong direction for humanity.
That's why it's so careful. It's so terrible. You have to really look at where this purpose is going to take you. So I spent a lot of my life,
Hey, Kimon. I'm doing fine. I'm just doing some academic stuff.
Coaches in sport and working with young players in sport, young people, and so they start out. Parents want them to. They have a dream. They want to become number one in the world, and they want to
Tennis
play
or golf or
whatever it is. They want to become a professional athlete in soccer or hockey, or they want a college scholarship or whatever. And when you look at the odds of that actually happening, they're almost non-existent. They're almost zero. Few make it. But at some point, maybe they started at the age of 4 or 5. At some point, this young boy or girl begins to realize this isn't going to happen. But the parents are still out there pushing them, and they're inside. They're
You've
going,
seen that a lot.
oh, they're still pushing them. Are going, well, you're not trying hard enough. You got to give more. You got to work hard. We're going to take you to another academy. You need better coaches. You need better this. Your gymnastics coach is not good enough, and on and on and on. And the youngster inside begins to realize, this wasn't my thing in the first place. This is not what I want.
But now I'm going to disappoint my parents.
Now I'm going to disappoint the parents. I've been given all these wonderful things, and it's been great. And then I have a conversation with them, and I say, okay, so this is not your thing. You're doing it to please other people. You're going to have to find, so I usually get to this place, which is really an interesting place. I say, what if the reason you went into this sport, you suffered all the losses, all the injuries, to become a more disciplined, competitor, and all the stuff that you've been through, you've virtually not known anything else other than this sport. What if all this was to help you grow up and become a stronger, more fully functioning person? What if that was the gift? They go. I say, are you capable of more now as a human being than you were when you started? Yeah. Maybe this golf, this tennis, this hockey, maybe that was the gift. Forget what your parents were. If you're going to stay in this, let's grow up.
That's a thou shalt dragon, your parents.
Yes.
Take the resume your parents wrote for you when you were 5 and tear it up. That's a hard thing.
Now you're in this. Every day is a day to get stronger, being able to be more resilient, to manage mistakes better, to be kinder, to be a better person, to be more character-driven in every day we're going to make a journal where you're going to grade yourself on that. And if you become one in the world, fantastic. But that's not your purpose. That's a secondary, tertiary. It's way down the chart. Right now, you're just going to grow up so that one day you might get your kids involved, but not to become number one in the world, to grow up and become a better person. And the whole thing changes almost on a dime. And so I work with a lot of coaches. You walk out, let's say tennis coaches, and they're out there feeding balls, and they're mindless, and they're going, oh my God. And I go, if all you're out there doing is you really want to create champions, and you got all these kids out here, none of them are going to make it, you're a failure. But what if your role in their life was to help them become better, more fully functional human beings, and that you model all these things that you would like for them to become: fully engaged, 100% effort, disciplined, kind, resilient in life, and that's what your purpose is. And that every day you have a chance to interface with them and to help them grow as human beings. And at the end of your life, how are you going to feel about that as opposed to how many champions did I produce? One is empty and one is filled with life, and every day you train so that you can have full engagement with every one of your students and then come home and be fully engaged with your family. And all of a sudden,
Can't believe
everything
someone
makes sense. And that's how I end
someone's
up
trying
getting
to
a lot of
like
these people.
hire a house nanny
This as well.
And
for
you
like
do the same thing with
25 bucks an
parents.
hour here.
Think about a purposeful family.
Damn, bro.
Could parents instill that type of?
So when I'm working with parents, I say, listen, let's just forget this business of being, getting a college scholarship, if it happens, or playing the
Right.
world stage and all this. Let's just figure out. I want you to reflect on this question. Your son or daughter is chasing something. They're chasing golf, tennis, some sport, soccer, hockey, field hockey. Do you like who they are becoming as a person as a consequence of the chase? That's the only thing that matters. You are not to be a coach. You are not to be anything but the mother or the father, because that can never be replaced. And your job is to make sure that they're becoming a better, more character-driven human being because of their exposure, better able to handle the forces of life or get them out. It's a boondoggle. And I say it really strong. And I said, if you think this is about winning, getting the money back that you invested in this black hole of hoping that someday they're going to give you a bunch of money and buy you homes and cars because they're stars, forget it. It's not going to happen. The only way you justify the investment is that they become a better human being, and you made all the sacrifices, getting them to and from practices, giving up all your summer vacations and everything for one reason: not to get them to win more, but to become a better human being, better equipped to deal with life as they get older. And it changes their behavior because they have a different purpose. So we need a purpose, but we need the right purpose. When you get those two right, things change almost immediately.
So we're talking about how purpose can help people in the real world, in real life. And we started by talking about college and the military, experiences among younger adults, and how purpose can really help them in shaping their outcomes, shaping their future. Really, really important. Now we're going to talk a bit about what happens when you're at work, and about workplaces and purposeful workplaces, purposeful employees. But let's start with this person who essentially is the father of modern sociology. His name is Emile Durkheim. And Emile Durkheim, in the late 1800s, was noticing, as other researchers were noticing, that people in Europe were starting to commit suicide at an increasing rate. So he started looking back saying, what's going on? What's happening? Why are we committing suicide at a much higher rate, particularly in France where he was studying this? So he ended up doing this very deep study of suicide and wrote a book called Suicide. Here's what he said toward the end of that book. He said, he must feel himself more in solidarity with a collective existence which precedes him in time, which survives him, and which encompasses him at all points. Here's what he's saying. He's saying basically, in the past in France, people were living in little villages. And in those little villages, everybody had a certain purpose. We've talked about that previously. And then suddenly now they're moving into bigger cities, working in factories, and they're not feeling that sense of purpose so much. They're not feeling the sense of solidarity as much as when they were in their smaller villages. The collective existence just wasn't there. So he said, if this occurs, he will no longer find that the only aim of his conduct in himself and understanding that he is an instrument of a purpose greater than himself. But what groups are best? Now he's starting to ask, how do we create this collective existence now that has some type of purpose to it? He analyzes political society and says, nah, I don't think political society is going to do it for most French people. And probably not religious society now, because in France, at least in the later 1800s, we're starting to lose our religion. But not even the family, because we're leaving our families, we're leaving our villages to start working in major cities around France, to work in these bigger factories. So our families are not a part of our collective existence quite so much anymore. Then he says, beside this society of faith, of family, and of politics, there is one other which no mention has yet been made. The occupational group or corporation, which is an odd thing for Emile Durkheim to say because he was a socialist. And you might not have expected him to talk about corporations. And he wasn't just talking about unions and corporations. He was talking about the corporation being this collective existence that you could start finding purpose and meaning from. So let's unpack that a little bit. So there's a story about a custodian at NASA in the early 1960s, and NASA was being reviewed by John F. Kennedy, the president at the time. And the president walks up with his entourage to the custodian and says, "Hi, I'm Jack Kennedy. What are you doing?" And the custodian says, "Well, Mr. President, I'm helping put a man on the moon." I love this story. This is the story about job creation. In a work site, more and more people need and want meaning from their work. Increasingly now, millennials, for example, want meaning in their work. In fact, millennials are willing to accept $20,000 less in a job if they feel in the job has great meaning. This custodian found meaning in his work. He is putting a man on the moon. It's a great quote. It really reflects what I'm trying to talk about in terms of crafting your purpose no matter what your job title is. Amy Wisniewski is a professor in business school at Yale University. She's a person who studied job crafting a great deal. This is what she says, that increasing emphasis is placed on the importance of work as a source of fulfillment, meaning, and purpose in life today, as individuals spend more time at work and change jobs more often and readily in the past. If you're a company and you want to attract the best people and keep those best people, you need to start thinking more about a transcending purpose of your company. What is your company doing to help society? research study done called Firms of Endearment, and it was done by 3 business school professors. These business school professors picked out 28 companies. Half of them were public and half of them were private companies. And they picked these companies not only on the basis of their purpose towards shareholder value, because that would be the typical purpose of a company. How do we build shareholder or stockholder value? But they also said, how can we help our employees? How can we be purposeful in the sense that we want to engage our employees and support our employees? But very importantly also, how do we support our communities? So these firms of endearment were picked according to their ability to enhance the lives of their employees and enhance the communities that surround the companies, not just shareholder value. So these firms of endearment were super special companies. Then they compared these companies against the S&P or Standard & Poor's 500, which is basically looking at the performance of the stock market, and also Good to Great companies. Good to Great was a book that was written about companies that had really strong financial performance. They had strong financial prowess. They had great leadership. But these weren't necessarily firms of endearment. They weren't necessarily companies that were focused so much on their communities or their employees, but they were companies that had very, very strong leadership and financial prowess. So what they did in firms of endearment in this study was compare the 28 companies that they had selected against the S&P 500 and against the Good to Great companies in terms of financial performance over a 15-year period of time. So 3 years after they picked these firms of endearment, they found that the Good to Great companies were doing much better than the firms of endearment and much better than the S&P 500. Now let's look 5 years out. The 5-year forecast started showing that all of these companies were starting to coalesce in terms of financial performance. Again, the S&P 500 not doing as well as the other two, the firms of endearment or the Good to Great companies. Now let's go at 10 years. We start to see that the firms of endearment are actually doing better than the other two. And then we need the whole height of this slide to show what happened by 15 years, that the firms of endearment returned a 1,681% return on investment. That's unbelievable compared to Good to Great companies, 263%, compared to the S&P 500, a return of 118% on your initial investment. So you see that having this strong self-transcending purpose, and actually I might call it a revenue transcending purpose, resulted in more revenue for these firms of endearment, just like a self-transcending purpose returns greater outcomes, more positive outcomes for an individual. It's really an amazing finding. So let's take a look at the U.S. workforce right now. There was a Harris Poll survey years ago that asked employees how connected they were to the purpose and core values of their company. 37% of these U.S. workforce employees clearly knew their company's purpose. 37%. 20% were enthusiastic about the purpose of the company. 20% could see how they as an employee could support the purpose of the company. 15%, only 15% felt enabled to work toward the purpose, and 20% fully trusted the company that employed them. I don't know, is that a good set of statistics or not? It's not unexpected when you look at the U.S. workforce right now. What if that were a football team? So what if you were the quarterback in this football team, and on this football team, on the offensive side, there are 11 players, and you find among all 11 players that only 4 of them know which goal they're going to, that only 2 of them cared, that only 2 of them knew which position they're supposed to be playing, that 2 of them believed that their efforts could make a difference out of the 11, and that 8 of them would just as soon be rooting for the other team. That makes little sense, right? And when I talk to groups, to companies about this, people have a nervous laugh because they know they should be acting like a team, but that they're not typically. purpose in real life, talking about purpose among college students.
Hang on a second. I'll be right back.
Military veterans, we've been talking about employees and workplaces, and I'd like to talk about retirement and aging. Really, really important subject because when you retire, you may need to repurpose your life. I mean, suddenly you may think, okay, I'm going to retire and golf all the time now. And then after about 5 days, you realize you kind of suck at golf. In fact,
I wonder what I can
just
do right
watch the
now.
Golf Channel. And maybe you'll watch a lot of sports
Ready,
shows.
set my mom to add job
It's okay.
applications.
It's just if that's all you're doing and you're just eating, chips and hanging out and doing nothing else, you're going to start getting problems.
Let's go play
It's
some team mode
really
looting.
important to find some way to repurpose your life with some type of self-transcending purpose. So we're going to cover a little bit of that today. And we're going to start with Simone de Beauvoir. Simone de Beauvoir was an existential philosopher. And she said this amazing thing. She wrote this book later in her life about purposeful aging. She said this: there's only one solution if old age is not to be an absurd parody of our former life, and that is to go on pursuing ends that give our existence a meaning. It's essential that we do that. Here's what happens when people start to retire. Over time, their purpose in life starts going down. They have less energy, or maybe they didn't think about how they might repurpose their life in the first place. Maybe they had some expectations that they'd start doing certain things, but then those things start becoming less and less important to them over time, so their purpose diminishes. Here's what actually happens. This is only an average, but you know what? Nobody is average. Here's what's really happening with 100 different older people as they're aging. You see, their purpose is going all over the place. For a while, a person may have a very high purpose, then maybe they get sick.
Oh, such a good car choice though.
Their purpose. So it's bouncing all over the place. So one of the questions that we might have is, how do I build a stronger, self-transcending purpose in life in this later chapter of my life? And how do I make that a consistent purpose over time? Very important. Here's what happens if you can't maintain a purpose over your life. This is a study that was done at the Rush Alzheimer's Center in Chicago, looking at people who were in this retirement phase who had a lower or higher purpose in life. It turns out that over time, people with a lower purpose in life were 2.4 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease than people with a high purpose in life. And this is after statistically controlling for health status and cognitive deficits at time one. Even after all of that was from Alzheimer's disease than people with a weak, low purpose in life. So in interviewing Jim Lair, I wanted to find out what he's doing in this chapter of his life. And first of all, he's not retired at all. He will work until he dies, I'm pretty certain. And he talks a lot about stress, and he has a really unique perspective on stress that I just love. He also has a number one objective of any retired person.
Our bodies, I'm pretty much convinced that our bodies, we're a purpose-driven species. And when we are without a purpose, we're pretty much designed to self-destruct. And this is built in the evolutionary, cycle where if you're not contributing something, then you're consuming resources that really should be devoted to someone who has a purpose to make the
So
world
there
better.
may actually be a natural
I am
selection.
convinced it is. I really believe there is. And I believe that the trigger is old man stress. That when you get out from the reach of old man stress, it means you no longer
Let me switch the
really
game
are a
topic here.
productive vital force. You have to seek stress. And I wrote a whole book on it where, stress for success. The whole idea that we have to seek stress and recover from it, seek it. When we no longer seek stress, when we're simply sitting on the sidelines and go to the beach, and drink martinis, you're going to check out much sooner. You're going to lose your capacity. If you don't use that brain, you're going to lose it.
You want to be challenged.
You have to go out and do something, or your system will take over, and you'll be forced to the sideline in a permanent way.
Which is what a purpose does.
That's exactly right.
Right, okay.
So I believe that the more people begin to understand, like for my mom lived to be 4 days. She goes, this is what, and she was extremely religious.
Wait, this is a magic weapon? This is not a magic weapon.
Weather, because they have the sense that if they're still here, the good Lord wants them to be here. And so they have a purpose in all their suffering, all their ailments. She had 2 hip replacements and all kinds of issues. But she just continued to do people here longer. So for me, purpose is a thing that ignites.
This thing has
all the
pretty
cells.
bullet hell
There are 50
adjacent.
trillion cells, and they're all operating from purpose.
I like how my melee speed is at 324%, but my range damage is at 394%. Still got platforms. There's a little guy here. Got Providence and we got Sickness. Got Profane Guardians. So, I don't. That should be good. Profane Guardians. Providence. Sickness. Stormweaver. Let's use this really good. I'm gonna make with the horse crossbow. Kelvin Catalyst. Just another. We're not in this phase yet, so we're gonna store that. What we need is kill a couple more. 5 life alloy and 20 solar fragments. I don't need silent. I need lucky. Oops. I reforged it when it was lucky. God damn it. Yeah, that lucky. That is pretty sick. That one's gonna be kept over there. It's like 10, so that's what's spent on last phase. I think there's a way to summon Anahita. I think there should be, right? Because I need to spam this because of this thing. I need the community. So, stay big chilling. We can spawn it, but I don't feel like spawning.
So we've talked about purpose in real life, about college and military, about work and workplaces, aging and retirement.
Or
Now we're going to talk about family and community.
we
And I'm
can't
going to just forewarn you,
buy it.
there's very, very little research in this area. There's a little, but not so much. And there's some new emerging research that's just starting up with families, but we don't
It's gonna
know
be
too
pricey
much
as
about
all hell,
race and
though.
family. But one really important question that we need to answer is how can
We're
a family
not
create a
that
purpose
rich.
that ends up lasting for
Game on this.
generations?
What I could
To
do
me, that's such a cool question. First of all, the family is a unit. The family can have a purpose. You could talk over your dinner table, what a good friend of mine calls the gathering place, and talk with the family about what our purpose is as a family. What do we represent as a family? But really importantly, can we make that last from the current generation asking that question to the next generation with their children and with their children? We also have to recognize the fact that there are different family members that may have very different purposes, and they may not necessarily connect with the family purpose. Allowing that person some leeway into saying, I might not be connected with our family purpose, that may be really important. And also family purposes may change over time, especially over generations. So just thinking about that, thinking about the family as an entity, as a unit of analysis, just like a corporation could have a purpose overall that people could align to and feel proud of. A
sells it?
family can certainly do that as well. I asked Jim Lair, who works with a lot
Operator.
of families of future budding sports stars, or among people who are not going to end up making it in sports, but their family is pushing and pushing them. I asked him how he thinks about purpose among these kids that he is working with so closely.
I want you to reflect on this question. Your son or daughter is chasing something. They're chasing golf, tennis, some sport, soccer, hockey, field hockey. Do you like who they are becoming as people?
It's a lot of like bloody enemies that are just made out of flesh, just constantly getting their asses railed on.
And individual factors, they found that aesthetic quality of the neighborhoods were really important. So the prettier that neighborhood was, the lower
That's
the risk level,
6
the
merchants.
more likely they were to be in those blue zones here. The more access they had to healthy foods, the more likely they were to be in blue zones. The more likely they were prone to violence, the more likely they would be in the red zones. But over and above all of those neighborhood factors was one individual factor, and you guessed it, was having a strong purpose in life. So imagine how important this might be. Even though neighborhood and structural factors are incredibly important, it's also really important to think about having a strong purpose. And when they looked at people who had a strong purpose, it was associated with greater mastery of the environment. What does that mean? Well, it means that if there's a dumpster in the middle of your neighborhood, that you might be able to organize your community to figure out how to put a fence around that dumpster or get
You know what?
increase
Fuck it. Give me a
optimism.
moment.
Purpose in life
Thank
was
goodness I
also
usually carry this as a
associated
non,
with healing and coping. So all
non-invasive
the things
tool,
we've been talking about in the
because
past
I am getting annoyed by invasion
of course,
sometimes.
were relevant here in this study. They also found that purpose in life was negatively associated with the perception of everyday discrimination. A stronger purpose would feel that discrimination. They also were less likely to develop depressive symptoms. So you see how purpose interacts with the difficulty.
Whoa, what the?
Confidence and mastery to be able to change their environment, which is even more. Started caring more about just about what the stock market is doing. It's a really interesting indicator of community, purpose, the energy, the kindness.
You don't have a health bar.
of community. Robert F. Kennedy talked about this. He said, "We act to erase material poverty. There's another greater task. It is to confront the poverty of satisfaction, purpose and dignity that afflicts us all. Too much and for too long, we seem to have surrendered personal excellence and community values in the mere accumulation of material things. It does not include the beauty of our poetry, or the strength of our marriages, the intelligence of our public debate, or the integrity of our public officials. It measures neither our wit nor
Hey.
our courage, neither our wisdom nor our learning, neither our compassion nor our devotion to our country. It measures everything, in short,
Where
except
is the?
that which makes life worthwhile." So the aims of
Well, then
Wake
again, I
Forward
don't
have been
really
to
need it.
understand
It's
how
just
purpose
literally there for
operates in
anti-invasion
real life,
purposes.
in colleges, in the military, after military, as a veteran, at work, in workplaces, in
They make
teaching,
Genesis again?
retirement, among family members, and in community. I asked Jim Lair more about the fact that I think we can choose to be more purposeful if we want. And if we do choose to be more purposeful, what kind
Five
of
eliminate,
purpose do we
five life
choose
alloy
as
open.
a college student, in the military, as a veteran, at work? What kind of purpose does a workplace choose? In aging and retirement, what kind of purposes do we choose? What kind of purposes can families or communities choose? I think it's really important to understand that we do indeed have choice in our purpose.
That was again another confirmation in our kind of purpose is people. And our energy is what makes everything happen. And one of the things that I've learned, for me, maybe the most significant
This one I need Cosmolite bar,
understanding and learning next to all this is that
but it's not really an arteria,
we give life
so
to whatever we give our energy for better. So if I give energy, kindness in my own life, capacity for my kindness. If I
Like
give
a
it
muscle.
exactly like a muscle, and the same thing is true if I give energy to impatience or cynicism or sarcasm, those will grow. I can have world-class muscle capacity for sarcasm and cynicism if I want to die.
Woo! I'm gonna need to look at a giant crafting tree. Or I think we hang on. Let's quickly craft that. I think we're in hard mode. Oh, first off, let's gather that. Whirl. Don't sell it. Whatever. Let's go ahead and look at it. So, a shield. Tinkerer. Okay. Most of the materials are in here anyway, so we got that. So another blindfold. Megaphone, Nazar, armor polish, vitamins, Bezoar, disadvantage, fast clock, counter, trifold map. Do we have our counter course mantra? Or is that the job that I can't exactly get here? Oh no, you make counter course mantra, okay. What else? I think that covers it. Let's try it. Yep. And then for the other stuff, I need an ornate shield and a portfolio. Which requires 5 cryonic bars and 10 crystal shards. Do we have any cryonic bars? We do have crystal shards. What we can do is buy a freaking shop changer. Where's the Ravager's bag at? There it is. Pretty sure that would cover that. And then I think I go for Calamity, which we already have, so let's go for the crafting. Shield. Spreads Valor. I think as Guardian Aegis requires the yeah, it requires Cosmolite. That's fine though, we don't really need that yet. Do I ever need a better armor than this? So what we can do is go for Bloodstone, Blood Orb, shield? No. Bloodstone, Blood Orb, and what else? Bloodstone, Blood Orb, and... No, that requires Necroplasm. No. Let's just deposit all of that. And get this to lucky. Give themselves more crit. Let's see. I'm gonna regen our map. Now do we get... Yep, we do have that. You should have cover that. Can you make something with this? In terms of weapons. We got Badge of Bravery, we got Dark Sun Rising, Dark Sun Ring. Paragon Wings, what else? Voltage Regulation System. Elderberry. Heavy Laser Rifle. Plasma Caster, Pulse Dragon, Snake Eyes. Infinity Catalyst? What the fuck is this? Hang on. The hell's an Infinity Catalyst? What mod is this from? I'm gonna read all of that stuff. 570 dubious plating? Hello? Oh, this requires me to beat Xerok anyway. What the fuck? Okay. What the actual fuck is this crafting tree? Oh my god. I got a Spiker, Needler, and a Sting. I don't have a Needler. Alright. We don't have any more accessories, but let's see here. Does that already seals the deal with some of our stuff? I just need to see if I could actually add more to it. I could make something so stupid with the shark tooth necklace. Grand scale. This one requires honeycomb. Wait, no. There we go. I was gonna say, I need that. And then the other one requires grand scale, which requires this to summon. Solar fragment, core sunlight, forbidden fragment. Then we also have forbidden fragment, which I think this guy sells. No, she doesn't sell it. Okay. It says sold by operator. Hang on, is it vanilla? No. Different. Do I have to collect it first? Yeah, I have to collect it first. Bleh. No, I have time for that. Okay, first off, let's turn off our revengeance so that way we can actually just like face the darn shark. Okay, that was quick. Whoa. It's a grant scale. Grand scale. What else am I missing? Avenger emblem. So goodbye. Oh, you know what? Store all these first. Hey, sorry. Just playing Terraria. How are you doing? Been a while. Ah, neat. Also, what's up with the random noises? I could see it. I could see what you're doing. Till it took you like 4 days. And then you went your installation. We don't have Sun Charm or Moon Charm, however, I am gonna go put that as a storage. Let's see what we could craft with this lamp. Spirit Flame. Hi. Put that Spirit Flame later. For now, let's go ahead and put that. Get a Cosmic Worm. Glassmaker's ready. What else? I think we need something else. But I think we're ready. Ooh! Oh. I'm out here. Yeah, it can go fuck itself, bro. Oh, man. I was literally 2 hits away from dying. Oh. Oh, hey, it's a pet. Let's see. We, Cosmolite Bite's gonna be really useful. Wood. I need to, get more platforms. Relic. Great Sand Shark, Relic, and then Baruch Vassal. I think it's the only one that's different ones. But at least we got that. Okay, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 12. Nothing like a casual, what do you call it? Godly worm just circling around you. Okay, do we have, I know that the cosmic, the fucking, anvil requires something? Give me a moment. Where's the anvil at? There it is. 10 Luminite and 12 Galactic Singularity and, Exodium Clusters. Okay. So let's go mine that. First off, so I need 12 of these. 12 of these. 12 of these. And 12 of these. Wait, what? Let's see here. Where is the enemies? And it says 20 Exodium clusters. So all I have to do is just. finally the what do you call it? The anvil itself. Okay, got that luminate. Also, why is this in my inventory? I don't need that. I do need the voltaic firestorm. You want to exploit the marketplace real quick? Because this is one reason how. I might keep that window. Just like that, we already got more than 600 platinum. Because we gotta exploit the fucking... This needs to be fixed, not gonna lie. Because if you could just buy the treasure bags repeatedly over and over again... God, that's a little bit too much. Let's see here, what we got. We have an alchemist that we could just buy potions out of. Or a brewer. Battle potion. Battle potion. Where are you, battle potion? Hey, you can roll 63 yourself. Battle potion. I'm not gonna bother these guys. Ah. Those guys could screw themselves. I'm not gonna bother the lunatic cultist. Yeah, you gotta just go stick on this area. Now let's widen up an area a little bit so that we could fight this guy a lot better. I guess I'm gonna find him sooner than I expected. Let me widen up the area, buddy. Come on. Okay, now we fight. Is it Ascendant Spirit Essence? And or does it just like Okay, so it's Ascended Spirit Essence. Okay, just making sure. Alright, so we need Ascended Spirit Essence, and which requires, yeah, let's just make it. So I'm not gonna bother making it, waiting for pumpkins to, drop, so, then we also have, we'll start with Naughty Present first, and then we'll go for the Solar Eclipse, because we do have a Solar Tablet. So, let's start off with these two, and then we'll go for the Pumpkin Moon Medallion, the last one. Oh, good. Okay, we got that. Actually, gonna end the stream early on this one because my mom wants me to watch Edition before my dad goes home. So, thanks for watching, because I am not, I wasn't really switching in the moods to Terraria today. Let's see who we could raid real quick. I wish I could run while I was, while I'm switching windows. Oh, can we raid? We don't have anybody. We do not have anybody. No, let's go to Zycrotic. Is she awesome? You guys have fun with her stream. She's basically a meme material at this point. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for some Forza Completionist Wednesdays, even though it's just gonna be like a few objectives. We might switch back to Terraria, but I'm pretty dang sure I'm gonna be done with the gameplay on this one after today. Yeah, I'll see you guys.